I can't do this shit.
You gotta go pee.
This was a mistake. Alright. Oh shit. Alright. Welcome back, everybody, to the VVR channel. I hope you guys liked that little spoiler talk with Lorenzo last week. I thought that was pretty insightful and very fun. And we're actually going to do something a little bit differently now. I kind of want to talk about mainly my life and just kind of like what's going on with me. And to do that, I want to bring in a guest that's going to be able to hopefully bring in more insightfulness, so more of a therapeutic kind of thing. And hopefully it's going to be more of it's going to be a different type of show from the Twin Chickens podcast that we usually do with Evan. This one's going to be mainly on my personal channel, something a little bit more serious, more heavyweight, but and hopefully a little bit fun. But today in the studio we have my cousin, long lost brother. We got Gilbert.
Hi.
Yeah. Welcome.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me, having me over.
Yes. If you don't know, Gilbert was on the Twin Chickens podcast 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
With me and Evan, and man, that was fun. I'll put a link below so you guys can actually catch up with us. And it's been a while since we actually seen Gilbert, but now we Artie's got a new place, and it's pretty great. Anyway, what we're going to do with this podcast is we're actually going to talk about lives, what brought us here, what made us who we are, and it's going to get more, like I said, a little bit different of a feel that we usually do, but I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and we'll just go from there. So tell us about yourself. Where were you born? Who are your parents? Social security number.
Everything, the whole 9
We'll
yards.
start from the very beginning of birth. It'll be a chronicles.
Ooh.
Chronicles of
my
Gilbert.
parents come from El Salvador, both different states of the continent, country.
Yeah.
They came here, they met here in the United States. I think my mom was 15 and my dad was 22.
Super young.
Yeah. And then I think that's a 7-year age gap.
Okay. Your dad
my-
being the oldest.
My dad being the oldest, my mom being the youngest.
Yeah.
They met, I think, outside of school. I don't remember typically what they say how they met, but
they met in El Salvador.
they met here.
Oh, damn.
They met here. Yeah, they met here. So,
In school here?
yeah, either it was school or outside of school, but they met here. I never got the full picture of it. But they got together,
Right.
and then a year later,
You were the
Mom
first
was
one.
pregnant. Yep, mom's pregnant, has me.
And you're the oldest out of the four, right?
Yeah, my mom has 4 kids. Yeah. 4 kids. My sister, the following one would be like 5 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's another 5 years and then 1 year apart
Right.
from that.
And they're all with your dad? Correct? Or three of them?
Mom. Through my mom.
Through your mom. Okay.
All 3 of them.
Right. Because you have a stepdad that, I mean, you currently that's who she's with right now. And your dad is obviously divorced, and now you're living with your dad at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk from day one, man. How do you think that you got to be you yourself? What are the events in your life that brought you here? Like major events. And we'll start there. We'll break it down because I want to get into some gritty stuff.
The first traumatizing thing I think was this is the first thing I remember, dude. It's literally crazy to think you could remember these things as a kid.
Oh yeah.
I must have been 4 years old, and I kind of narrowed it down. But I remember that it was my mom's and dad's apartment. Mm-hmm. First thing that fucking impacted the things that I do in life was blinking. Not even joking. Was the concept of I'm aware of myself. It's like subconsciously, I'm just like, oh look, I was blinking consistently, dude, as a kid, and then I'm like
learning to I can do this.
Yeah, and then I'm like, what if I just stopped?
Yeah.
And then I stopped blinking, and I was like, oh my god, like I can stop, like, and I think that's where like that self-conscious and remembering things at such a young age started to like
huge,
hit. Man. Yeah. Especially at a young age.
Yeah, no, it's huge because like I didn't realize like there was a time where I was like looking at my arm and I'm like, oh shit, like I was like what 6 or something like that. And I'm like, this is my arm. Like I could do things with it. Yeah. And then later I found out you could really do something with it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm starting to become self-aware of my presence, my body, and like, at a young age, and it's like becoming self-aware. Was crazy. But to you said it was traumatizing. What was so like, was it just eye-awakening for you as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that I could stop blinking. I thought it was a normal thing. It was so, that's the most traumatizing thing. You're like,
I guess.
This whole time I'm just blinking consistently.
Yeah.
And then you could just stop. And that to me was just like...
That freaked you out?
That freaked me out.
Oh,
As a kid, I was just like, this whole time, like, I thought I broke my eyes.
Jesus. So what kind of kid do you think you were when you were like in elementary school?
I was a fucking terrible kid.
I was the worst kid. I was the worst kid.
I wouldn't say I was terrible to other kids, but I was terrible academically.
Oh, well, how so? Like, just couldn't follow up with, like, classes, wasn't paying attention, just messing around? Or
I just didn't care about school.
I feel that.
I think at a young age, I just didn't care.
It was just, like, nothing stuck with you?
No, I think to be honest, was cheating. Like, what could I do to top myself to cheat?
I am the same exact way.
At the school.
You know what I did when I was a kid? I didn't turn in I was at elementary school.
Yeah.
And I didn't turn in my homework, and the teacher usually just like, can you put all your assignments on this desk?
Yeah.
So I grabbed the kid's paper, I erased his name, and I put my name instead. And she caught me. She was like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't have my shit, and my dog ate my homework. My mom got divorced. It was a long week.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't buy it. And obviously I failed that assignment, but like I was that kind of kid.
Yeah,
I was very egocentric as a kid, for sure.
Just like I
can do whatever the fuck I want,
I would just wait until the teacher would give out the answers in the book. So I would look like, so I would, when the teacher would show it on the projector, if you're fucking old school, the screen projectors, and I would just sit there and wait, and then just write, oh, this is 9, this is 3,
so
this is 4.
you were only focused on getting the answers, not really so much of what you were actually learning.
Yeah, I was just to the point where when is recess?
Oh, yeah.
I want to be outside. I want to run and like play, and I felt like school was such a locked cage for me that I just wanted to be outside and be free, and I was just
that. And that was throughout your entire school, or just elementary?
Throughout the whole school.
Jeez.
There were certain points in my life where
oh my God,
I really enjoyed school, where I'm like, oh, I could really do something with myself.
Yeah.
And go somewhere, like, think of college, and then afterwards it's just like, fuck this.
Yeah, I mean, college is like the better experience because now you're free to do whatever you want, and that I prefer college more than anything.
Yeah.
It's the best place. But as far as like going to school though, did you think that you got along with people as a kid? Were you a bully? Because I was a fucking bully.
Were you?
Yeah.
I would never picture that.
I was beating up everybody. Yeah. I didn't care who it was, man. There was like a really big kid in the playgrounds, and I used to push him over and like roll him over.
Really?
Yeah. I was a terrible kid. My dad would come and pick me up at school and just be like, because they would call him like, hey, your child is beating somebody up again. And it's just me, like my shirt's ripped. I just got jumped from everyone in the jungle gym. That's the kind of kid I was. Yeah. But on the other side, I would be the kid. I was a romantic, man. I would grab like dandelions. I would rip them off from the ground. And I would give them to girls I liked.
Oh, really? Yeah. You're just like, here you go.
I was a romantic. Like, hey, I just got in a fight, but check this out.
Here's that.
Yeah.
No,
you feeling this? Yeah.
I was really, really nice as a kid. Like, I would always want people to hang out with me or just like invite people over, like, home. Because I never knew people's situations.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I always had that conscious aware of like maybe somebody has it worse than me.
Yeah. But you didn't like think about people's lives.
Yeah, it was it was mostly of like maybe this kid isn't in the right place because of the clothes that they're wearing, or they were just different from what.
I never noticed that as a kid.
You never noticed that? I think maybe traumatizing moments, things from home. You know
what I'm saying?
But I would notice those things, and it would just be like, oh, okay. I remember getting a gift from a girl. You know, Secret Santa?
Yeah,
like, they would do that in school.
They did that for your school?
They did that for my elementary. One year. It wasn't like crazy.
They killed Santa in my school. Man.
Oh, no. They just murder him?
Well, they just was like, yeah, for Christmas, you can just take 3 weeks off. I'm like, well, okay.
He's like, sure.
Like, I want to exchange gifts, but whatever. The only thing we ever did was Valentine's Day. Anyway, I cut you off.
Oh, no, it's all right. She gave me a gift. Oh, man, I can't remember the year. I think we were in, like, 2008,
okay.
I want to say.
Middle school?
No,
this was high school.
I think in middle school I was in, like, 2012 or something, a little bit. Maybe, like, 2010.
Okay.
But I remember that it was just... She gave me a gift with a little teddy bear on it, Secret Santa. I went to Walmart, got an expensive gift for somebody. I gave him a Naruto gift.
Right.
So it was like a toy. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I got was like a little bear that said from 2003. So I was just like...
wrong year.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh, this isn't even a new gift.
It didn't feel thoughtful.
I think maybe it was thoughtful. Maybe it was her own personal gift.
Right.
Like it was her
from
own,
home, maybe.
Yeah, from home.
Some
but
special reason.
at that time, I thought as a kid, like, oh, maybe this isn't a new gift. Like, so I know her situations was she couldn't afford it.
Right.
So I didn't think much of the gift. Instead of being like, what the fuck is this? You know, like,
right.
I don't want this garbage.
So what'd you do? Did you throw it away then?
I kept it, and then I don't remember. I think after moving so much, I lost it eventually.
That tends to happen.
Yeah.
But you never saw this girl again. She was whatever.
After I always wondered what happened to her.
Huh. Weird. Do you think that was? And this all happened in our current state where we're in. Like you never moved from Minnesota. You were always here.
Yep. Always here in the city.
Yep. My the girl. It's funny enough. The girl that I gave the dandelion to when I was in elementary school, I see her at like quinceañeras and parties and whatever.
Oh really?
I would see her around because she had this really unique skin color.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful, and I forget it's like a Hispanic, the dark Hispanic kind of color. It was really beautiful skin.
Yeah.
And I would see her, I'm like, oh my god, that's her. And then she would look at me, and I'd like, throw up in my mouth because like, that's not me,
Like,
you do something stupid, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh damn, maybe that is her. And I never got the courage to go up to her and be like, how you doing, whatever the fuck. She was really distinct in her look, so I remember that as a kid, and that's why I liked her. But I see her in there, so I assume that she's like probably living a normal life or whatever.
Hopefully.
But with you, man, you have no resolution.
Yeah, that's the sucky thing. I don't know anything about whatever happened to that girl. But there was another kid that I do know was almost in the same situation. They would make fun of him.
For what? For getting gifts?
Just because he kind of seemed like low income family, like kind of.
Like the clothes he was wearing and
yeah, but I don't know. It was mostly I think he was, and it's sad to say, almost like a little bit of special needs. Like he was just like needed a little bit more attention to it.
Yeah.
And I think the other kids just treated him badly because of that.
See, as kids, we don't really know what we're doing. That's why, like, it's so special to treat kids in a special way, because like the way that we're raised, it dictates the rest of our lives, right?
Right.
And that's why I made this podcast. That's why I wanted to bring this up, because it's more of a getting to know us and like a more deeper personal level. But for me, I see it in my brothers and sisters, right? Like same as you. Like the best thing that we can do so that they can learn to love in such a way that they can understand what things are, is by just giving them the attention that they need at the right time.
Yeah.
Because like right now, like my sisters, they're all about just throwing middle fingers up in the air and not giving a fuck. That's how they are,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't have a conversation with you. I can't actually do things. Like, I can't like teach you a life lesson right now because you're in a rebellious state. This is natural. It's the natural part of life. So in that moment, I always think of like, obviously they don't have any like special needs or anything like that. They're they're regular people, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's more of like it's giving that awareness to them, so that like if you try to give a special attention to someone, it could come off bad, even if you're with your best intentions. And as kids, we don't know that. We don't know if we're hurting someone or if we're even doing what's right. So like with those kids, I would see a lot of them, like at school, like in the cafeterias. But nobody would like bug them or anything like that because it just felt like shallow. Yeah. But this was in high school though. Like in middle school, I think everyone just kind of like did their own thing, from what I saw. But I never really associated with any of that stuff.
I had in middle school now, like there was a lot of kids that were fucking assholes.
Yeah.
To kids that definitely were special needs and like needed the help. They were just fucking monsters, dude. Like, I think even to each other, but it was just worse for them, just because they know those kids couldn't fight back.
Do you know why they do that though?
I think I have no clue. I really cannot think on the top of my head because I would never do it.
Well, let's think of this. Why won't you do it? Why wouldn't you hurt someone like that? Someone that's vulnerable, someone that like can't defend themselves. Why wouldn't you hurt someone like that?
I feel like because you just know better. You just know they can't defend themselves, and it's not their fault for the things that like turned out the way that how they are in the situations. But it's just like I just never thought of like this bully this kid because it's fun.
So do you think those kids then that were bullying like all the kids that were like on special needs, do you think that they just weren't even conscious or didn't even care about that they were just releasing some kind of anger that they had or some other stuff?
It could be a lot though. It could be like parents issues or them just taking out.
It usually is what it is. It's parents issues. Yeah. Troubles at home.
Or they were just trying to be funny and they just picked on the wrong kids.
It's hard when you're watching that because it's like, dude, like even if I try to do something, I'm gonna get hurt and I'm gonna like there should always be teachers around like to do that. And for me, there always has been teachers that's like, hey, don't do that. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, this kid can't like. They never said like, this kid can't defend themselves. There was like, just go to suspension. Like, they never taught the lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never did that. But the actual problems when kids do that, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, what makes us who we are, is a lot of problems come from home because, like, as kids we imitate our parents because our parents, we think of them as like the all father. They know everything.
They're like idol figures. Yeah.
Exactly. So even if your dad and your mom are yelling, you think that that's normal. That's a normal thing to do. So that yelling, as a kid, you would bring that to a school environment, and that's what happens.
Right.
So I'm always curious of, like, when people grow up, if they were influenced by their parents, what made them want to do those certain actions.
I think for me, my mom was the reason I don't bully people or even thought of it as like through elementary or middle school. It was because of my mom. My mom would always tell me, like, hey, you never know people's situations in life. They could be having it terrible. It's like they may have all the money, all the wealth, but they don't have parents' love.
Yeah.
And so that always stuck to my head. It's just like, so when anybody was like...
That's a great lesson.
Yeah, when anybody was just like angry towards you or you just seemed like they had it all, I'm like, I would always tell myself, they probably don't have love at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even though I may be broke, I still have my parents' love.
Yeah.
So it was just like a huge eye-opening at such a young age.
I always saw that as a dual thing. Like, everyone is a complex human being is what I see it. And a lot of people, you know, they're usually on their phone as an escapism, you know, to like escape reality. And that's what I see with kids. They're not really, to their point, you know, they don't want to confront the reality, you know. So they would be on their phone. But what I see is like kids that are on their phone now, when things do happen later on in life, they don't know what to do, so they end up freaking out and taking things to a higher extreme than when they need to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. They don't like confront these issues. So, it was a good topic of conversation with Evan. We were talking about the necessities of bullies, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think bullies to a point are necessary. It's what gives us callous. It's what makes us think like this is the real world and how we move forward. Was that your ring?
Yeah.
I
was gonna say camera.
I was like, did I drop my ring? No, but I was thinking, you know, normally bullies allow us to overcome something greater. You know what I mean? That's the way I always saw it. Yeah. But do you agree with that, or do you have a different mindset on that?
I think that's really a grayish area because, to be honest, it really is up to the person that's getting bullied.
Yeah.
Because either you could lift your chin up, keep driving through, or keep your head down, keep getting bullied.
Yep.
And then a lot of the times, they get depressed, suicidal.
Yeah.
School shooters, unfortunately.
That's usually what ends up.
Such a harsh topic, but it's really the person that's taking the bullied and like how they react to it.
Yeah.
Is how I see it. Just because, we do need it. But what's that certain point? Where's that like gray line of?
Right, because like obviously people can take it too far, and you know most people end up getting hurt. And school shootings, they beat up kids and they start doing terrible things. Because like, for me, I saw it from my brothers and sisters. Like, they don't get bullied enough, or sorry, not bullied enough. They don't get bullied at school.
Yeah.
But their parents, I guess my dad and my stepmom, like they're the ones that they imitate life. So whenever they get in a fight, they don't know how to react because they're always avoiding, you know, with their phones and everything.
Yeah.
To the point where like when they do try to confront their feelings, they're taking it out on other people, and that's what like they got in trouble. Like one of my youngest brother was like spitting on kids on the bus.
Oh really?
He was he's a kid. But it's like how do you tell that kid? You know, how do you tell him like, hey, it's what's going on. It's not your fault. But what you're doing is wrong. You know, like this is a terrible thing because you're hurting somebody else and you're also hurting yourself even more. Even though you don't realize it because you're a kid,
right?
You're gonna hurt yourself more in the future by doing this. And I think that's a fine line because like who I am now, I did terrible things as a kid.
Yeah. That
affected me of like not wanting to hurt anybody else anymore. Like that's the least thing I want to do in my life. It always causes me more pain if I'm ever going to fight with someone, like it causes me pain to hurt people. I can never do that. I can never put myself in that position.
Right.
Do you feel the same way? Like, do you feel like you just can't like ever, how do I say this, lash out at people like at the wrong reasons? Or do you feel like sometimes you need to stand your ground for whatever?
I think for the lashing out, it's like you're human. You know, when especially you're having such a fucking down day.
Yeah.
It's only normal to lash out. But I think it's really important to eventually come like full circle and let them know, hey, this is the reason why I'm lashing out. Like this is the reason why I'm being the way I am with my behavior, realizing your own shit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if you don't own up to it and then you just let it be, well, then now that person's going to go home feeling like shit.
Yep.
They're going to treat somebody else like shit. And
it just keeps
becomes
going.
a chain, like a spider web. Instead of just being like, hey, this is the reason why.
Yeah.
I hope you understand. Like, if I'm going to be having this shitty day, if you can't handle it, like, then, you know...
Right.
Like I could go home, or you could solve it, you know.
Yeah, I always think of it as a responsibility of ourselves, because the only thing this is something I learned just in life in general. Like, the only thing we can do is just worry about or protecting ourselves comes first, right?
Yeah.
Whoever we're at, you need to protect yourself for whoever you're at. So if there's some place you don't want to be, you don't have to be there. If there's someone you don't want in your life, I've cut out thousands of people in my life,
right? Yeah,
because they just were not good people into me. They just caused me pain, and I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But the other part is like learning what it means to actually like understanding what it means to be, you know, a human being, right?
Yeah.
Of how to treat people and how to actually walk this fine line. And that's what I'm learning right now. It's this hard thing of like becoming a good brother, becoming a good son, and all this stuff. This is what I was going to say before, which is like forgiveness has always been a topic of like, how do you forgive someone? For example, if someone just keeps treating you bad, how do you forgive someone that's going to keep doing the same thing over and over again? Forgiveness to me, in my mind, is like letting go of all of these, everything that they have done for you, taking all that and throwing it away as if like it never happened, or like not like as if it never happened, but like more of like accepting that this is the reality of it, but like I don't want to carry that anymore. So you forgive them in a way that like you accept them for who they are, but you know you can't trust them to a point anymore.
Right. To be honest, I think what ends up happening a lot is that eventually people want to leave. They want to, like, you know, forgive somebody and end up going, but it almost seems like they carry this, well, they've done this for me, they've done a lot for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I owe them something. That's why I'm still in here, because they've done something for me. And
like provided food, shelter, whatever.
Done something, bought you shoes. Let's say for a parent, they've owed you something. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing is if you know this person isn't right for you, you have to let them go. Yeah. You have to accept what you said, accept who they are as a person and a human being, and just say, I don't want this in my life. Mm-hmm. If 5 years from now they try to reach out again and they're different, or they want to try to,
because people can change.
People can change, and it's just if they want to try to rebuild the connection again, then I'll allow it, but immediately set boundaries of if this isn't what I want again, then immediately I don't want to talk to you. Yep. I don't think people should feel ashamed of it. That's my biggest thing, where people are like, oh, I don't want to do this because I would feel bad because they've done this for me, and it's like, don't feel ashamed of cutting anybody off, no matter who they are.
No, I never do that. I never do, because you got to protect yourself. That's something I've learned. It's like I used to be this person of like giving so much love to my family and everything, but expecting something different in return. Yeah. But the only thing I've ever expected from my family was just for them to be appreciative. That like, thank you. Yeah. That's it. I don't need people to buy me things to tell me that they love me or anything like that. But just telling me that, thank you so much for doing this, and I love you, and then, you know, and like occasionally just like, hey, I thought about you, and I want to, you know, here's a muffin. Right. Something small. It doesn't even have to be anything big, but that's the way I thought is what it was, because I had this idea in my mind of like what a perfect family is, or what it means to be bonded together, like as a brother, you know, cousins, whatever the fuck. There was this deeper meaning for me, so I would imply that into other people, but I realized I was only hurting myself because I didn't realize what it meant for them. Yeah. Putting them in that position, you know. So I was like, as much as like it was only good things can come out of it, right? I never meant to like put people in a position that like, if you don't do this, you don't love me. It's not like that. It's more of like, I've done so much for you guys, but why don't you guys show me that you care about me in any way capacity? And that's my main thing. It's just like learning that they just can't. Right. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that just don't know how to love, and that comes from like your childhood, just like learning what it means to be a person, someone with love, and, you know, being able to cherish those things. That's what I'm learning right now. And it's a tough thing, because I can't give my love to people, because most people just can't return that in the way that I wanted to. Right. But it's just a very normal, healthy way. You know, I'm not trying to like tell people, if you don't do this for me, you don't. No, it's not that. It's just more of like, I'm thoughtful of you. Are you thoughtful of me? That's
right.
it.
Do you feel like you put your family at this like high expectation because they're our family?
I used to, yeah. I used to do that, and that would hurt me a lot because I used to be like, an example, I would want to like spend time with my family.
Yeah.
But then when I want to spend time with them, they want to. It's a family moment. It's just us bonding as a family.
Right.
But there's nothing bad that can come out of it. But in that time, they would want to go out with other people. And it's like when other people would come over, even during that family time, I get kicked out and ignored pretty much. And it's not intentional. Never, nothing ever is. But it's more of like, I thought we were having a family bonding moment. I thought we were laying into each other and actually connecting. And now that other people are here, I'm no longer associated with them. It's more of like, I'm just a third wheel to this. And that's why it's just like, damn, I can't give you guys everything anymore because you guys can't even give me a fraction of what I give you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've learned to like take things at face value of what they actually are, so I don't get myself hurt anymore because I'm the kind of person that when he loves, I love hard. Like with my brothers and sisters, sometimes when they just didn't have food at home, I would go out and buy them groceries. That's the kind of person I am. I'm very thoughtful. I'm very like giving.
Yeah.
But they're kids. They don't know how to show emotion or care or love or anything. They can't just pick up a phone and say, "Hey, thank you for doing that. I love you. Thank you so much.
Right,
when can we hang out?"
Right.
They're not able to think of those things.
Is it so then when you're stating this, is it your whole family or is it just your siblings?
It's,
or it's just,
all of them. Yeah.
It's everyone.
It's everyone, and it's tough because like my whole goal in life has always been to create this family. So and I hate this too because like I met a coworker from Chipotle. His name is Jacob.
Yep.
And when I went to one of his parties, I saw his family, like 30 freaking plus people, just cousins, brothers, and sisters, but treating each other with such respect and such love in a way that I've never seen ever in my life. But that comes from their parentage. That comes from so many generations of this culture that's cultivated. You know what I mean? So when I saw that, it messed in my head that this is something special that I want to create. But it's not until later that I talked to other people that are saying, look, you can't have that with your family. You're not there anymore. And I'm like, as much as I hate to admit it, like I'm definitely I'm an adult. I'm the oldest of them. So obviously, like in their eyes, I'm capable of doing whatever I want now. I'm not responsible. They're not responsible for me anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? For taking care. Like my dad is responsible for me in other ways, but like apart from everyone else, I'm an adult now. You know.
Right. Yeah.
But it was more the fact of like I just. When I saw that family dynamic with Jacob, I was like, dude, this is what I want. And it's not until someone told me that you can have that, but just not with your family. You need to make that.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, oh, that's my goal now.
But do you think, I have friends that have a close, tight-knit family, but sometimes I think to myself, like, it seems perfect, like this is what I would want.
Yeah.
But is it perfect, though?
And
like,
that it definitely isn't. It's not perfect.
Like, is there more to it than what, like, they show? Because I've always thought, like, I like this closeness, this family bond, but there's a reason they got to this like close. I'm like, So it's always just like, I would want that for my family. I would want to be close.
Yeah.
But what would that cost? Almost.
That's the thing.
Because nothing could be perfect.
Because that's what I was trying to do with my family, right? Because I broke down and they did something really terrible to me that I'm like, I can't believe you guys would ever do this to me.
Yeah.
Someone that has showed you nothing but love and appreciation, nothing but happiness to you guys, and they did something super terrible to me, which I told you about like a couple years ago, which we can talk about later. But the main thing is, when they did that, I can't believe that they didn't treat me. They not only didn't treat me as a son or anything like that, but they made me feel like a monster. Yeah. And that destroyed me. That mentally I didn't recover from that until years later. I was on a self-destructing path in my life, and it was only like 2 years. It's pretty recently that happened, but like it's not until later that I realized what happened, who they are, and so that I put everything into perspective, and I started putting boundaries. Not all these things, because it just came to the point where like, how could you guys do this? I did nothing but just give you guys what I thought love was. And not in a toxic way or anything like that. Like I said, I was just very thoughtful. Like I would take the kids out to the mall. I would take them to the movies. I would take them just to have fun, to do something fun. But when they did these things to me, the kids were not aware of it. But it's just their actions that flowed through that really messed with my mind. Yeah. And sent me spiraling. putting boundaries was the first thing I did, but learning what it meant to love myself and understand myself first is what put everything into perspective. Because I was lost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was. It was so strange because I came up from this high of like understanding from college, like this is what I'm meant to do now. I know what I'm supposed to do in life, and then having it all just shatter and being destroyed it's hard picking yourself up when there's no one there. The only one I had was my mom.
Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful thing, because like for my mom, she doesn't have to she doesn't have to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
She just knows. It's the strangest thing. I've talked about this before, but like I would like be very upset some days, and she would just call me like, "Hey, did you eat? Are you okay? Do you want to come over?" And just like out of nowhere, like at the
out of that blue, just a motherly instinct. I swear,
it's that weird thing. She lives in the basement back when I was living with my mom, and I would just I was upstairs. I would walk to the kitchen, and she'd come up and she's like, "Do you want some pupusas? Do you want some food?" And I'm like, "How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know?" And she's like, "I can hear your fat feet walking." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh my god, are you serious?"
I can just tell by the way you're walking around. You're sad.
What are you talking? And like she just knows. But she was the only one that like gave me any kind of kindness in that point, and that made me feel like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong.
But do you feel like it's hard to be close? Do you feel close to your siblings? Because there's a huge gap of age.
It's a huge gap. I want to be close to them, but like I said, they're not capable to perceive love and to understand that because they're just not at that state. As much as I want to be there for them, they just don't want or care to have me in their lives. Mm-hmm. So it's like whenever we hang out, I'm nothing but nice and nothing but kind and just gonna treat them like my brothers and sisters, like nothing, like forever.
Right.
Whenever something does happen though, it's like, hey, you guys did this, and like I don't mean to get heavy or dramatic, but it's like I'm trying to make you guys aware that like you're able to have a voice. Because everyone should have a voice. I'm not trying to shut anyone up, because they're kids. But you should know that this is what you did, and this is what hurt me, and I'm just trying to let you know that was not okay.
Right.
In a very mature way. But most of them just throw an attitude and just don't understand. They can't comprehend these things. They're kids, and there's nothing I can do.
But you know what it is too, though. It almost sounds like they haven't gone through the same experiences that you have.
Yeah.
That made you realize these things sooner than because basically they have everything. They have their mom and dad.
Yeah.
They're not divorced like our parents.
No, they're super spoiled.
Yeah, they're spoiled. They have the things that they want. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it almost seems like when parents get older, they stop caring more about their kids and just let them start doing whatever the fuck they want.
Well, at a point you should, because kids need to be able to do things. They need to eventually get like punched in the face or whatever like that, and then you as a parent come to them and like, hey, it's okay, I'm here for you as a rock. Things do need to happen to kids, not like that, like terrible things like that, but like things need to happen to kids of like, this is life, and I'm gonna be here as a parent to love you forever, right? No matter what. There's always that security.
I always say there's that point, and it's usually in their teen years when they start to realize that they become their own people. But I feel like at that younger stage of where they're molded, their minds are super easy to mold, and you can show them
very
what's
delicate.
right and wrong. And so I think like that part, it's like where I feel like the older you get as a parent, you just stop caring.
Yep. And for me, my parents stopped caring about me when I was very young, and it's like, well, my dad did, and he never paid attention. My dad has cared about us. He's very consistent as a parent, as a dad, I should say, because like parenting is never his strong suit. He doesn't know how to parent. He doesn't care to parent. It's more of like he will provide food because my dad's a survivalist mentality. He needs to go out and get food and get this, and that's the way he shows you that he cares. But as a kid, you don't see that. You just don't even know your dad's not there. That's it. That's all you know. You don't know that you have a house that you live in, that you have clothes, that you're able to like walk out and have food. You don't know these things.
Right.
But your dad's not there. That's how half the time that I've seen it, and I'm like, I wish I had my dad too. But then you realize you can't have it all.
Right.
Like like my brothers and sisters, they have they have the dad there, but no one talks to anybody. From what I see, like everyone's in their own space doing their own thing. It's like my dad's gonna, he's not gonna live around forever. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to see signs that's like, oh, things are happening to him. But I'm in this mindset that like if I want you in my life, I'm gonna be in your life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That I'm gonna give you everything that as much as I can. And I try not to give everything to people, but like I try to, because we've lived through this experience of like losing someone, that like they're gonna be someone's, you know, whoever you love is gonna be gone one day, so you want to cherish them and be around with them as much as possible. Yeah. But it's hard to do that with people that just don't have the time, or just they don't see that they want that. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it.
I think it was almost at the point too where it's at the end of their life, you know, where they're just like, oh, I wish I spent more time with them, and you start to think of it then, because you think at your whole life you're invincible, you'll live through anything.
That's my dad,
and then it gets to that point where you're not, and then you really regret it because you're like, shoot, they try to put so much effort and I just fucking blew it away.
And that's what I was trying to tell my dad. Like, it's hard because like my dad is the kind of person that just he's very like one-track mind kind of person. Like, he's
not emotional, right?
No, he's a very cut off person. He doesn't really, you know, he's a very cold person, but he shows that he cares about you in other ways, you know what I mean? But like, he never puts a thought of like, I should spend more time with my kids or whatever, because I even told him, like, you don't talk to me. I don't even know why you're not talking to my sister, or why, you know, because we live far away. I get that, but like, you don't call them. He's like, I call her all the time. It's like, but why is she telling me that? You know, like, why did she tell me that you don't? You know, like, stuff like that. And it's like, look, if you messed up with me, I don't even know if you see that, but like, I just don't want whatever turmoil, whatever anger, despair that I have in me that you caused. And I told him, like, this is the things that you did. And he's like, I never did any of that. Like, no, you're not seeing the bigger picture. Yeah. You're not seeing the things that you should take responsibility for, because I'm taking responsibility right now. Yeah. But you got to take responsibility now. That's good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But he's not able to see those things, and therefore I just don't want him to bring that into the kids, and that's what's happening now. He's doing unintentionally. He's not a terrible person. He's my dad.
He's trying not to be, or exactly. Like, not, I guess, thinking that.
Yes. He's not thinking that it's gonna hurt someone, because he's not. My dad's a very good, decent human being for sure. Yeah. I would say that, very decent, but in terms of like a parent, he's not really a parent.
I get that. I get that a lot.
He's different. Yeah. Where he will provide. As we know, like, we have parents like that. Yeah. We go to work and we get food, and why the fuck are you bitching? I got you an Xbox. You know, that's how they are. But that's what I'm saying. Like, because he doesn't spend that much time and bond with the kids are starting to have problems that I was having problems as a kid. And it's like, why is this necessary? Why are these things happening again? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it. And then I think of like, if I was more in your guys, and then I have all this regret, right? Of like, if I was more in your guys' life, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Right. But I took a step back because I just can't give you guys all my love. I just can't. Right. Like, you guys are not capable of even like showing that affection to me. And what makes me even mad, what did get me mad, I guess, before, and what still kind of ticks me off, is that they're able to do that with other people, not me. That's what gets me upset.
Oh, really? So they're willing to like love somebody else and appreciate the love for them. Like who?
That's what messes me up. Anybody. Like, really? They hang out. They have another family over where they live, and they do everything with them. And it's like, I just, at a point I was feeling neglected, but then now it's like, I feel like I don't matter to them anymore. You know what I mean? And I told my dad, like, why do you, at work, like, certain things that he says and does to me is like, why do you treat me like that? And I don't know, I haven't told you yet, but like, last week, I was telling my dad, like, you're doing this again, where you're scoffing at like stupid things that you would say, and I was trying to respond. Like, he would say, like, I need you to be at work at and I talked about this on the Twin Chickens podcast with Evan, but like, he's like, I need you to be at work at 6 so we can finish this house. And I'm like, yeah, I will be here at 6. He's like, but you can't be here because you have trouble sleeping because you drug yourself every night. And it's like, no, that's not.
So it's like side comments that he's making, that unnecessary comments.
Unnecessary comments, but it's because he has. And my dad, he doesn't mean it, and that's why, like, I've learned how to, like, what to take at face value of, like, oh, he's just stressed out. He has so many things on his mind, so I try not to take anything personal, right? Yeah. It's just these little microaggressions. That's what they are, microaggressions, and he doesn't mean them. But later that night, I haven't cried in 10, 20 years of my life. You know, ever since we lost our stepdad, or ever since I lost my stepdad.
My uncle.
Yeah, and it's like. That night, I got up. I went to before we left. Wow! I told him, "Hey, this is what you did, and this is what it affected." Like normal, right? Yeah. But like I said, I learned to forgive you, but I don't trust you. I don't see you as my dad, And then right there,
Right.
and then I told him like of another similar event that he did, and I was like, Dad, for like the longest time, I wanted to hurt you, I wanted to cause you pain, and right there, I bawled like a baby,
Right.
because that's not who I am,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm currently going through all this therapy and treatment to like understand myself and all of this, putting everything into perspective, right?
Yeah.
Setting boundaries, setting all these things. But I bawled so hard. I haven't cried like that in forever. And he was like, I didn't mean to cause you. You know, we had another moment. You know, it was a very pure moment, father and son. And I told him, I just don't see you as my dad anymore. And I am working every day outside of work to get away from this. Because I just want you as my dad again. You know what I mean? And that's like the hardest thing. So my situation is like, you know, I've talked forever, but like, you know, I go to work, and then I come here, and then I work on other projects as much as possible.
Yeah.
And to my dad's, you know, I told my dad like, hey, if you guys like, and this is something I was so frustrated. I was like, if you guys cared about me, you would at least do something for me. When was the last time you guys have ever done anything for me?
Right.
And they're like, no.
They couldn't even answer the question.
No, it's like, I gave you my sister was like, I gave you a shirt. I'm like, what the fuck does a shirt have any? You know, it's not about that. It's about like just seeing me as a person.
Yeah.
I have feelings too. What the fuck? So then I told my dad, like, can you at least do something, because I don't want to be in this life anymore. I don't want to like live going to work and just losing my day doing something I don't like to do. And now he's like, oh, he shares my posts. And like, when he shares my posts, you know, like when I make these videos, even movie reviews, he shares my posts. I'm like, it's not much, but thank you.
But yeah, it's something.
And I told him that, like, this is the most, I'm so happy and appreciative that I'm glad. I almost tear up just thinking about it, because it's like, oh my God, thank you. Like, just this is like, I don't need much.
But can I be honest though, isn't it kind of sad to think that even such a small gesture just like that could impact you so much?
Oh yeah.
And they not even having a fucking clue of, dang, this really means a lot to them. Like, damn, I've really been fucking up.
Yeah.
Like, I've really been that bad at neglecting my child that just doing this one simple small thing it's almost making them cry. Yeah. Or like break into tears. I think that's ridiculous to think, like, fuck.
It is. And that's what, like, it upsets me when someone says that they care about me and then they don't do anything to prove that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I just can't trust anybody like that anymore. Right. I just don't, like, I take love as a very, like, as a hard word. You mean it when you say it, you know what I'm saying? Right. So when my family members tell me to love you, it's like, when have you ever showed that? I've done nothing but try. And, like, if I fuck up, I'm a fuck up. I fuck up too. Right. But that's totally normal, though. Yeah, and I admit it. Like, when I mess up, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry that I did this, but I tell you about it at least. They never do. But that's, like, things that I'm learning how to, like, build these boundaries, learning that if we're going to be in each other's lives, we have to come to some kind of understanding. Right. You know what I mean? Some kind of respect with each other. And right now, I think it's best because, like, the kids don't know. They don't fucking care. If I could have them in my life, I would, because that's all I want to do is just be around them all the time and just have fun. Yeah. I love just being around them. But I can't do that because it's almost like I will get ignored, and I just don't feel the confidence that, like, when other people would come in, they're not just gonna, they're gonna go away. Yeah. And I just don't, I don't trust them to. It's not really their fault, It's more of the fact of, like, I don't give them that confidence that, like, oh, you guys are gonna come back, right, eventually. But they don't. I
have that almost same concept with my father, where we butt heads a lot because we're so similar. Yeah. But it's almost like an old school versus like new school. Oh yeah. And it's always clashing heads, and it's just like, I tell my dad, you have done so many things that a normal dad wouldn't do, or the ideal dad that I'm projecting. But I always tell him, and I say it to his face plenty of times, where I'm like, everything that you've done wrong, or I wish you could have done, I will do that for my child. Yeah. I'm taking everything that, like, I wish I had with you. Yeah. Just even going to play or watch a baseball
something
game.
Something so simple, yeah. Yeah, you and your dad.
Something that is just like, wow, like, this is my dad. Yeah. Because you grow out of it. I think, like, my dad was my biggest idol, and then you start to realize these, like, bad behaviors that they have.
Yeah. You it starts to put in the cracks of, like, oh, he's not perfect.
He's not a superhero anymore. Yeah. He's not like that hero that I thought he was. Yeah. And it's almost like I'm at the point where me and my dad I'm my own man now.
Yeah.
Because he still thinks I'm a little kid and tries to boss me around.
Yeah.
Without showing me that love aspect of a father.
Yep.
Just basically trying to be like, hey, you came out of me, which makes me your dad, so I'm gonna still tell you what to do because I'm your dad.
And that's the only reason.
And it's no, I'm my own man now because I'm grown. I've survived on my own. I've done everything on my own. You are not shit to me.
Yeah.
You may be my same blood, same face.
Yep.
But you're nothing else than that. And it's so sad to be at that point because I've wished the same for my dad of where I'm like feeling super vulnerable and I want to like talk to somebody and I'll start to talk to him about how I'm feeling and he goes, oh hey, look at that blue bird.
Yeah, and just completely change the conversation.
And it's just like, hey, I just basically said that I'm really fucking sad and I don't know what to do and you're telling me about this blue bird. And I'll call him out on it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm learning that if I call out on it and he realizes what he's doing, if he doesn't change that behavior,
right,
and he's still continuing it, then I leave it be because I know he's never going to change.
Yep.
Which means that I just at that point can't trust him to get to that vulnerable state anymore.
Well, do you think that in your dad's way though, that's his way of like trying to not break the ice, but not even change the subject? It's more of like trying to get to a point, but in his own way. Do you ever think of that?
I think it's really just basically saying I don't really want to talk about this because I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I don't know how to become this vulnerable because he barely had his dad.
Yeah.
His dad, from what he says, his dad was basically a provider. Didn't really talk about the emotions, just gave them what they needed and that was it.
Yeah.
So to my dad, he doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And like me basically crying out and asking for, hey, I need my dad.
Yep.
Doesn't know how to. Kind of shrugs like, eh.
Yeah, it's like, I thought I was.
Yeah.
Because in their mind, they have their own thing, you know, like, this is what I thought it was.
Yeah, and it's so sad because it's just like, even when I tell you this is what I need, you still kind of, and I get it, maybe it's comfortability, like you're out of your comfort zone and you don't want to be, and he's very like that, where he's like never wants to step out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, fucking help me.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I said, I did the same thing with my dad, and it's very frustrating because what you want them to do is not difficult, and that's what makes you go crazy in your head. That's what makes you go even deeper into sadness, because it's like, well, I'm not asking you to like buy me a car. I'm not asking you to like, you know, I don't know, like take me to Kansas or whatever, or like, you know, whatever the fuck, like nothing huge, nothing major. It's so small and it could be insignificant to you, but like to your dad or to whoever, but it's like just this little thing. You don't even have to talk about it. It's just more of like, if you could just do this one thing, that's it.
But it goes back to same even with my siblings. I were like with my closest sister. It's like I want to talk to her about it because I have no one else to go to because you know I can't go to my dad.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Hey, look, did you see this new topic today?" And you're just like, "Wow, is nobody going to listen to me?" And so who do you go to if you can't go to your sibling and you can't go to your dad?
That's therapy, man.
Then
That's
you go,
the reason.
I mean, besides that, I go straight to my mom.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. The problem with my mom is that she always, bless her soul, I love her.
Yeah.
But she always tries to see it from the other view and the other person's perspective, which is it's fine, but it almost feels like she's attacking me.
How so?
And basically by saying like, what are you doing wrong? Why are you feeling that way?
Instead of like, hey, maybe I didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. It was just like, well, maybe you should try this because maybe you did this wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, I don't need that. I need you to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And just like hug me. Just give me a hug, please. That's it. I'm like, I get the logic aspect of it, trust me, but it's not something that I need right now.
Yeah, like, I mean, it comes to a point where we really just need someone to like, you know, come up to us and just be like, hey, it's okay, like,
exactly,
it's fine.
Yeah, like, I don't want to pay $1,000 for a therapist. I just need a normal person to hug.
Well,
me.
that's the thing. It's because I realized that I don't have anything like that in my life.
Right? Yeah.
So when I did that, I made that move, and it's not easy. It's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous, like going to AA. It's not an easy thing to do because you keep telling yourself, my parents will you keep thinking that your parents, your sisters, brothers are someday going to wake up and someday going to do that for you.
Yeah.
The reality is you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. It's by chance.
Yeah.
And that's what made me go like, I can't trust anybody. All I know is that if I have a third party that's like non-biased, non-prejudiced, just a third party that is just here for me and only me, that's it.
Yeah.
Change the world. Because then you heard. Then this is why I'm doing this. But this isn't like a paid therapy session or anything like that. But this is the idea of like the things that I learned, the things that we will learn together through this, and it's just I think it's things that need to happen because we all have these kind of problems and everything. And I'm not obviously a paid therapist or anything. I'm just telling you about my things. But
yeah,
I think it's important that we do these because there's a lot of things that happen in our lives that we just don't know how to handle them or deal them, or maybe we just read them wrong. But it's important to understand them so that we can learn where to put our trust and where to put our happiness at, so that we don't get hurt anymore. Because I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be a hurt person. Right. I always just want to have a good time and just relax and chill and no drama. That's my lifestyle. I don't want that. So I'm very selective with people that I bring into my life because I don't want to be hurt anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? But no, this is our timer did go. This was a very good time.
A lot.
Yeah.
We're past it. The break.
No, we're good. We hit it right on time. But any closing thoughts for this, man? This is a very good, long, good talk.
Best closing talk. Eventually, we're gonna get a therapist to come on to here.
That would be amazing.
And fucking actually help us with our issues.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna get somebody to come out here and actually be like Dr. Phil level of.
You need to punch your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need this, you need that.
Just pee in a corner.
Or just to be like, hey, are we doing the right thing so far? Are we actually?
Because I've learned from a little bit, but I'm still doing in these sessions, and it helps a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I can't think of any closing thoughts.
No, this was it, man. I'm just, this is what I want to do, is just do a little bit more of these to kind of like, anything in the week that kind of like ticked us off wrong or just had like a different idea of it. Yeah. I want to do something like this, and I hope you guys liked it too, because this is something completely different from what I usually do. Even on the Twin Chickens, we have our lighthearted moments and we have some serious moments, but this is more of our lives, the things that brought us to who we are, and just kind of sharing our grief and whatever, so that hopefully it relates to you guys as well, because times are tough, pandemic wise. Obviously we're still recovering from it, but I'm pretty sure we're not the only people that are going through similar things with that. And I just want to spread the word that like you're not alone. Obviously, therapy is like the best thing you can do. There are other ways to do it, and mainly, it's just I just want to prevent people from, I guess, not seeing if there's another option out there. That's what this is what the bigger thing that I want to do. But this is a good talk, man. This is a really good time, and it was a good time.
Yeah, it was too deep.
Yeah,
gotta go home and cry now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the worst time of my life. Like, too hard.
It was good. It was good, man. And so far, I like the setup too. I think I'm gonna keep this back.
Is this from Link the Wild?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Little other one. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna be doing still an apartment tour here later on for my studio. And I'm also going to do, obviously, more movie reviews and all that stuff. But this is the thing that I feel like I'm meant to do, is, like, obviously I want to do more things. But we'll get into that later. But I just want to move away from where I'm at right now with my business and with my having a relationship with my dad. These are all the things I'm trying to work forward to. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, we're not the only ones going through issues. And I think it's good to just have an open conversation about these things every once in a while. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was insightful. Have a great night. Adios.